Hey there, tech enthusiast. Get ready for Tech Ties and Human Vibes, the podcast where technology in the AI era meets the human touch.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tech Ties and Human Vibes. I am Nancy Henriquez, here with my co-host, Adam Nelson.
Hello.
Hey, Adam. And special guest today, I am so excited to introduce to you guys, David. How are you?
I'm doing great, Nancy. Thanks.
And Vic.
Howdy.
David, tell us a little bit about you and Zecurity, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm David Ronn. I'm CEO of Zecurity. We've created the next generation of cybersecurity. We are unlike anything else that is on the market. We can get into that. The two reasons are we are hardware, not software, and we operate on a behavior basis rather than an identity basis. I'll stop there and we'll continue with the intros. So.
Vic, tell us a little bit about you.
My name's Vic Friday. I'm President and Chief Technical Officer of Zecurity. And basically, I've been in IT since 1981. So I'll date myself there. And I've worked in cybersecurity probably the last 25 years. And we're excited about what we've been able to come up with.
Well, I love that. And you said 1981. I was -5. Just saying.
Hey, you don't have to go. I know I'm old. Okay, you don't have to. But no, that's.
Listen, that must mean there is so much wisdom that you have to offer, and I'm excited to hear some of that, and I think everyone else will be too, especially since what David was saying, you guys are creating a next gen solution of cybersecurity. Let's get into that.
Yeah, I am super interested on what you even mean by that.
Vic, why don't you go ahead? Because I think it's helpful if you hear Vic can kind of tell, since Vic is really the germinator of this idea, to kind of how it came across, where he came from, how he came up with this, etc.
Okay, so when I started in IT, there wasn't these big farms of IT people working for companies. It was just starting. And I kind of described the history of IT in decades. So in the 70s, we were fighting for bytes. So programmers, we had competitions between ourselves saying, okay, I can do this in 75 bytes. And then the next guy would say, I can do it in 50 bytes. And so we would try to accomplish tasks taking up the least amount of space, which is what our problem was back then, is we didn't have a lot of space to work with when we executed programs. So really in the 80s, we started programming systems, and I went to work for a big oil company. And essentially, we were building ERP systems through the 80s. We were building purchasing systems, inventory systems, supply chain, all of those systems. And we were having to link those systems together inside these big mainframes. And during the 80s, I had 40,000 users worldwide in this company. Okay. But the key thing I picked up on was that we were secure through the 80s. And we were secure because we could establish what's called individual accountability. So when someone logged on, we knew exactly who they were. And so then we had a security system that would control what people did after they got into this great big system we had built. We had 250 programmers on staff, so it was a large operation. But what none of us realized during the 80s is that the security was actually coming from the hardware side. We were doing all the work on the software side, and we had all the security software that was controlling people's actions. But those 40,000 people had to come through 7 physical gateways into the system. And so we were using each one of those gateways of establishing individual accountability. Okay, so the world was all fine through the 80s. We get to the end of the 80s, and then Mr. Gates walks out and says, I want ubiquitous computing. I want all computers to talk to each other. What that actually means in technical terms is he wanted all computers to be able to write on each other. Okay, that blew the top off of any kind of security because now you can, if you advance through the 90s with the advent of the internet, now everyone can mask their individual accountability. So when someone's coming in, you don't actually know if it's that person. Um, and then there's so many entry points. There wasn't these physical entry points that people had to come through with the advent of the IP addresses. Now you can connect to any computer in the world that has an IP address. Big problems for security. Okay, so we go through the 90s, we advance into client server, we advance into the internet, and now when we get up to around 2000, we start developing internet applications. Okay, and so here I'm sitting there going, okay, Vic, you're going to get left behind if you don't learn how to code these internet applications. So basically, what I did is I did not design a financial system to run across the internet, and I put the elements in the design that actually made it secure. Okay, and lo and behold, what it was actually going to take to make it secure was a piece of hardware that basically put this idea of controlling the communication through something that no one could change, because we started from the premise that all software is hackable. So any software cybersecurity solution, it's hackable. Okay, that was the premise we started from. And so what we recognized is that you have to introduce an element of hardware into the cybersecurity exchange in your communication. Okay, the best example I can give of that is if you log into your personal bank account, your bank, once you put in your username password, your bank sends you back a code, and it's really a two-factor authentication. People may not understand, but it's a two-factor authentication. They give you a 6-digit number most of the time, and you put that number into the equation. That's how the bank knows, okay, this is really this person, and they're trying to log into their account. They have actually introduced a piece of hardware, being your phone, because they believe your phone, you're going to have your phone, right? And you have your username password. So that's the best example I can give to you for introducing hardware into the cybersecurity solution. What we have done in Zecurity is we just do this for servers. Okay, we work with computers and servers that are in the cloud or wherever you want to have your hardware. We're just doing that for servers. We're not doing it for phones. Okay. And so we went and got patents for our technology. We have 4 patents in our company, and it covers the technology that we're using today, but also future products that we're going to build in the future. Um, and so I'll stop there, and that kind of gives you an overview of how we got to where we are.
Very cool.
Oof. Yeah, that to think that you had to have all of that history to be able to get to this point of creating this product at the right time and at the right place, right? Because
Right.
now, we're entering the AI era, where cybersecurity is now even more, we need it even more, right? And so it is amazing to see how that progressed and how that happened, how we got here.
And when you consider AI, okay, what is AI? Is it hardware or software?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a great question.
I mean, I guess I've
What
always
is it,
thought of it
Adam?
as
I'm like, what is
software.
it, Adam?
Okay, well, it has to be one or the other, right? Has to be one. Well, it's software. Okay. I said a couple of minutes ago, all software can be hacked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So all AI can be hacked. It's not going to provide the cybersecurity solution that we need, right? In the industry, what we need to do is stop allowing cybersecurity problems to occur and then try to recover and mitigate from those. We call that M&M, monitor and mitigate. Okay. We have to get out of that mode because that mode is a losing mode. That's the mode that you see everything in the headlines all the time. We have to get to a point where we're actually stopping things from occurring before they occur. Okay. And that's what we've invented is a piece of hardware that stops those things from happening before they ever occur. And we don't have to worry about mitigating things because the problem never occurred.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. So what you're talking about in the solutions that have come out since, as we are trying to mitigate all of the cyber risks that are now just in the world because of, you said, Mr. Gates. We're gonna blame him. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. But so now, all of the products that have come out are all basically right of boom. They're all after the implosion happens, right? And so what you're saying is that yours is way left of boom. It is, you know, a preventative measure that is that wall that stops it in general.
Yeah,
So,
and here's the crux to it. If I can jump in real quick, the the way that all the software works is all identity based. It's an identity concept. So they can stop what they know. They cannot stop what they don't know. And the problem is there are 560,000 new malware created every single day. The hackers are way ahead of everybody and will continue to be. And they use AI and they're using AI better than the programmers are. So what AI is generally is they use an AI tool to go through your network, set a baseline, and then monitor your network and tell you, ooh, something odd an anomaly is happening over here. You better go look at that. Well, what's the problem? The anomaly's already happened. So, in other words, whether it's software or whether it's AI, they're guessing. Now, some of them are better than others, and it's better than nothing for sure. So, not casting aspersions against the entire industry, of course. But the answer is it's still a monitor and mitigate concept. It is still a guessing game. We don't like to guess. And that's the key. Ours is based on behavior, as I mentioned on the front end, as opposed to identity. So, and by that, what I mean is every packet that comes into your network has to tell the machine at machine level, what am I going to do? There's a variety of computer commands: write, read, delete, create, insert. Read is okay. Everything else is bad. There's no reason why anyone should be able to come into your system and change anything. And that's how malware and ransomware get into your system. They execute a write command, they attach themselves into your system, they propagate, and they do their nasty business. If they can't write, if they can't attach themselves to your system, malware doesn't happen. And that's what our machine does.
That's so interesting. But before we go any further, I want to back this up. Vic, we know that you have, you started back in the days when computers were the size of homes, and you'd learned the way the system worked back then. And then, like Nancy said, Bill Gates screwed us all. And then, David, where do
What
you
brought
come in
us
the
word?
picture? Like,
Okay, so I went to business school. After business school, I was a programmer for a couple of years. Back in the 80s. I'm also a fossil. And So I was programming back in the days when things were secure. I was never had the expertise that Vic had, but I know enough to be dangerous. I then went back to law school, and I was a corporate attorney for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Did M&A, public-private offerings, everything from angels to venture capital to private equity up to public companies. And so and I based in Houston, so did a lot of oil and gas work, as you might imagine. But about 25% of my practice was tech, and that's how I ended up meeting Vic, was through the tech side. And so I'm a decent learner and know enough to be really dangerous. Vic is unquestionably the brains behind the tech, but we make a really good pair.
Very cool. And where does the name come from? Zecurity.
Vic?
We had a third partner who actually introduced us to each other. He unfortunately has since passed away, but he came up with the name Zecurity, and it kind of stuck. We started using it, and it's, you know, he was a sales guy. He was kind of our third leg in that, and he came up with it. So
It's a
we,
great name. Like I love it. I just wondered where it came from. I was like, huh, it's interesting.
And what a great way to honor him as
Yeah.
well, to keep the name that he came up with and be able to, essentially build his legacy through that as well. That's beautiful.
So how does
yeah,
this work? It's hardware, but how does it work? Is it for everybody? Is it for just commercial industry? Like who's it for and what does it do?
Yeah, it's not a panacea, Adam, for sure. The wish it was, although we have a lot of products coming down the road that will help in other areas. But the product we have at the moment is called a hardwall, as opposed to a firewall. Hardware, firewall, it's a hardwall, which we've trademarked that name. And what it works best for currently is what I'd call non-human systems. So, for instance, SCADA systems, which are the systems that run all of our infrastructure across the world, water systems, wastewater systems, solar systems, any kind of power, oil and gas, all of the infrastructure in the world is run on what is called these SCADA systems. And you don't have a human being inside there trying to get out. And so our box fits in front of those SCADA systems, allows people to, the beauty of our hard wall is that there's a read side, there's a read write side. Those are all systems that people want to be able to monitor because they want to see what's going on. Well, in today's world, if you're monitoring through an IP address, you can change. And with our box in front of a system, people can monitor, but because of physics, you can't get through. Literally impossible to make a change if you're monitoring. And then the people who do in fact need to get through come through our read write side, and they can, turn valve A this way, turn valve B that way, do whatever it is that they need to do. And there's a authentication process that works on that side, so only those people can get in. So that's one area. The other area would be segmented data. For instance, let's take an easy one, financial data. Maybe your CFO, auditor, and controller might be the only three people who should ever be able to change your financial data. But lots of people may need to look at it. So you could have a server with your financial data, have our hardwall in front of it. Lots of people could look at it. You never have to worry about that anybody would change it. And only those three people would be able to actually get in and change anything. So you can think about HIPAA data for hospitals, any just segmented data for any kind of business where you go, hey, this data, I've only got a handful of people who should ever touch it, and I want to make sure that nobody can ever change it. Those are the main uses for our hardwall at the moment.
That immediately made me think of Coca-Cola and their secret Coke recipe. Like that needs to go in that vault,
Yep,
right? So
exactly.
Coca-Cola, if you're listening.
I think they have. I think they have that one written down in a safe, and like two people know the combination or something. But yeah, that's the concept, Nancy. Exactly. It is what is data. For instance, some of the people we're talking to, it's our backup data. We want to make sure that our backup data. Okay, if somebody gets in and deals with messes up what we've got, we want to make sure that our backup data is beautiful and untouched. And nobody on a regular basis needs to touch that backup data. Another use is, for instance, all of our company data we have in our cloud in a co-location space, protected only by our hard wall. There's no firewall. There's nothing else. It is just the hard wall. And Vic and I are literally the only two human beings on the planet who know that data is there, can see it, or can do anything with it. It literally is a black box for data, because if you
Wow.
found that IP address for some way, everything's obfuscated. You can't see architecture, you can't see data. It is a black box for data.
So for the non-technical people out there, like myself, this is kind of like, if I'm wrong, just call me out on it. It's kind of like a safe with a window. So you can see what's inside the safe, you just can't access it.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
But that's only if you turn the read side on.
Right.
Like in our company data, we didn't even hook up the read access. So it doesn't have a window.
Right.
It's just a
Sliding window.
Yeah.
You can close it.
Vic,
Wow.
Vic, in that example, Vic and I are the only two people with the safe combination, and nobody
Okay.
can see. Nobody else can see what's there.
Nobody can even see it. Okay.
Right.
They know there's a safe there and that's it. Yeah. Okay. Very
They
cool.
know there's an IP address. They don't even know that there's a safe behind it.
Yeah. Very
Okay.
cool.
It's like a stealth safe. How about that? A stealth
I'll go
safe.
with that one. Stealth safe.
Hey, that's a
Wonder
great.
Woman's like Wonder Woman's plane. It can disappear.
Invisiplane. There you go. It's Invisisafe. Invisisafe. Right.
Invisisafe. That we might need to patent that too.
Right.
Very
Okay. So what you're saying is you have this box, whether you have a physical box and you have a virtual box.
No,
They're
it's all physical box. I mean,
it's all
our
physical
our
boxes.
hardware is a physical box. It is a half rack mounted unit about yay big, and it is a physical box that goes in front of whatever you're trying to protect.
We should
Okay.
probably point out a couple of features about our box. We've made this so that with what's called non-flashable memory, which means you cannot flash our firmware from a remote location, which all of the hardware guys and software guys, I can talk about them because I am one, right? They're all lazy. They want to update all of their equipment, all of their software programs from their desk without getting up, right? So we've built our box so that no one can update our unit from a remote location. So they can't change the functionality of the way the box works. You want to continue on there, David, with the other
I have
difference?
questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We'll do
So
another.
if you can't update it remotely, does it need updates?
That's another beauty. That is what a beautiful segue, Nancy. Thank you. Also, as you know, all software products have to get updated, and they're updating because their identity, and they have to update their list of what they know. Because if they don't, then more things can get in. Because we're not identity based, we are behavior based. You never, and I'll say that again, never need an update to our box. The only reason the box would ever get updated or upgraded is if we decided to add some functionality, and then we'd switch the box out for the customer. But it literally is plug, play, and forget. There is never a need to update the box. And so all of a sudden, maintenance, labor costs, all those kind of things are pushed to the ground.
Okay, so if it never needs updated, what is the two questions? What is the life expectancy of your box? And is there any type of guarantee? Hey, this is what we guarantee it for versus how long it'll last.
Sure. It should last at least 10 years, probably longer, but realistically, we're signing people up for 3-year contracts. So, after the first maybe 2 rounds of that, we'd just probably switch out the box just to be safe. And from a guarantee perspective, our warranty on our box is as we can't protect people from themselves. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. But otherwise, if installed correctly, etc., we guarantee that nothing will be able to get through and write to your system coming
Wow.
through the read-only side. Look, if someone has access to through the read-write side, by definition, they can put a piece of malware in, right? But
Yeah.
who you're worried about is third-party actors. If someone inside decides to be evil, we can't protect you against yourself.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
But you've made a bold statement. And so for the engineers and the technicians out there that are listening to this, I'm assuming that they're all thinking what I'm thinking, which is no way. How does what proof do you have in that sense that this box is impenetrable in that sense?
We've run 4 different penetration tests with 4 different, I'll call it, groups. One of them we just ran with the UT hacking group up at the University of Texas at Austin. And all 4 of those, no one's got through.
You've had tens of thousands of attempts.
Yeah. And in addition, there's something called a DDoS attack, which is the way that attack works is they're not actually trying to get through. The hackers flood your IP address with tens of thousands of hits, which blocks you being able to get into where you are, and actually, and sometimes causes that IP address just to fail, and you're just out of luck. Our machine has one of the testers went through a 1,000,000 loop test, and our machine didn't fail.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we are very, very confident that our machine works the way we say it does.
We like to sleep at night.
I love that. I think many executives and business owners like to sleep at night. So this is something that they should probably look into.
Yeah, sadly,
So
it's only getting worse, right? I mean, it's not that it's getting better, right? And this can help with potentially cyber insurance premiums, uh, labor costs, maintenance costs. Again, it it's not gonna, it's not everything. Look, a lot of the issues going on right now are social engineering, phishing, etc. Okay, we've got things coming down the road that can help with that. But at the moment, that's not this. And as long as you're thinking about the right use case, it's really beautiful for those use cases.
yeah. What are some so I know you touched on like the infrastructure aspect, those machines and things like that. So a lot of our listeners are managed service providers, and so they work with yeah, either a range from small businesses to enterprise level, and as well as um, the city and government type of entities and things like that. So, what would you say are like some of the use cases that MSPs could look at and say, this would be a really good fit for my client, or anything like that?
Yeah, the key to that is either the MSP or the client really needs to have their servers, call it on premises or in a co-locations, in a space that they or the MSP control. For instance, look, at the end of the day, we're still a startup. AWS or Azure is not sticking our hard walls in front of their servers tomorrow. Maybe one day, hopefully one day. But so if somebody is 100% in the cloud, we're not the right answer at the moment. But there are an awful lot of businesses that either the MSP houses their servers and houses their data, or you've got infrastructure. Obviously you're not sticking infrastructure in the cloud, right? So if it's infrastructure, or they have their own data that is on premises, and there are a lot of companies that are hybrid that have both that and the cloud, we can help protect that, the data and infrastructure that is, quote, on premises.
Awesome. When I had my MSP, I worked for one of the local water districts. And so you had mentioned that this could be used for something along those lines. what are some of the machines that this would go in front of? Let's say in a water district or a plant in that sense.
Vic, you want to take that?
Sure. So most of those SCADA systems have a PLC, what's called a PLC, a program logic controller, which controls the equipment at the water plant, be it a water producing plant for fresh water coming into homes and businesses, or maybe a sewage treatment plant where it's treating water coming out. Um, so our equipment would sit in front of both of those, and it would stop any third-party actors from coming in and hacking and basically changing the operation of the water treatment or the on the sewage or even the water composition coming in, which basically must be somebody coming to the door for Maca. He's a celebrity in Zecurity. Um, so basically, what we're doing is we're protecting the water source. Um, over the last couple of years, there's been multiple utility districts that have been hacked by foreign actors. They've um, done different things inside the hacks that they've done, but basically, if you one real fearful thing, not that we like to scare people, but if you had a coordinated attack across multiple water districts at the same time and you contaminated the water for all those districts at the same time, we'd have serious problem.
Well,
And
even I mean, you could even say the same thing with the power company, right? You could go in and shut grids down, and this is kind of like a protection against the apocalyptic movies that we see.
right, right, exactly. And actually, it's really a low cost solution to get cybersecurity for some of these SCADA systems. A lot of these systems are old. You couldn't even round up enough programmers to modify those systems and put cybersecurity inside of them. Whereas this, you can put our unit in front of those systems. You don't have to change them, which is music to a lot of the operators' ears. And so essentially, we can provide the best cybersecurity protection for a really low cost. It's a lot cheaper than modifying those systems or trying to purchase new systems that have cybersecurity built into them. And
That
most
makes
of
me
them
think
don't.
of
Most of the programmers don't think about security until their system is already written.
Yeah. Huh.
I know I did that for 35 years.
oh man, it's that made me think of the this in manufacturing plants, a lot of the times what we would find was that their systems were so outdated, comparatively speaking to the rest of their environment, because of how expensive that machinery was to replace. So that is something that definitely helps in that aspect of it. If they don't have the capital to replace equipment yet or anything along those lines, this is something that would be a great way to protect that while needing to have a stopgap or something. Well, just in general, actually, even if it's a new system.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I mean, that the cardinal rule is don't touch my equipment. Uh,
Yeah.
and you can't. I don't want you to put anything in it. I don't want you to mess with it. It works. It works. It works the way I know it works. And that's the beauty of our hardwall is it's plug and play. You put it in front of it. You don't have to change any legacy system to make this work.
Okay. So I'm an MSP or an IT professional, whatever, director level, whatever it might be. I want additional information. What do I do? Where do I go? Who do I call? How do I get that?
The easy thing is to go to our website, which is Zecurity with a Z, securitytech.com. There's a short 4-minute video on our website that explains the technology. Sometimes it's easier to understand seeing it visually than just hearing about it. And there are also data sheets on our hard wall and our secure data vault. That secure data vault is what we call the data like our data is up in our cloud, protected in that black box that we talked about, the InvisiSafe, if you will. And there's some information about various industries, but that's really the easiest way. And there's you can reach us via email at info@zecuritytech.com. It's on the website. There's also a 1-888 number that you can call and reach either one of us. So the website is really the best place to start gathering that information.
Okay, so you do sell directly through your website or some sort of contact through your website, not Amazon, not a third-party store, but right through you.
Right. This is all direct sales. I mean, we don't actually sell through the website, but people can contact us because every single installation is specific to what architecture someone might have. So we do need to have a discussion with what are they trying to protect? How do we set this up correctly, et cetera. The secure data vault's the easiest because that's something we control. It's in our cloud. That's where they're leasing space from us. They're leasing that InvisiSafe from us. That's the easy. And then we can set them up and they just upload their data. It works really like if you're, Microsoft 365 or Google Docs or Dropbox, it works like those are all good tools. Unfortunately, none of them are secure. But so we have essentially a replacement for those with that secure data vault. That one's easy. That's a SaaS product. It's totally through the cloud. For the infrastructure, or you want to put something in an MSP in a co-location space, we need to have a discussion.
Very
Love
nice.
that. Love that. So it sounds like you guys are very hands-on and you walk the MSP or the IT management through what needs to happen in order for their systems to be protected and all of that.
Yeah, 100%. Look, it's something new, right? It's different. It's something that other people haven't thought about. So there is unquestionably a bit of hand-holding, which is
Love
okay.
that.
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Well, listen, we've come to the end of our podcast time. I want to be conscious of your time as well, and I appreciate it. Nancy, do you have any additional questions or anything?
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely very informative and exciting to know that there's a product out there that is very left of boom that
Yeah.
comes from the 80s. It's almost like it time traveled a little bit, right? But I definitely love and appreciate you guys bringing this to us and being on our show and sharing this with our audience.
We thank you so much for the opportunity. It's really been our pleasure.
Thanks for joining us today on Tech Ties and Human Vibes. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, exclusive tips from our speakers, and more, head over to the community at sibylcommunity.com.